Okay, good morning. Hey, Phyllis, thanks for joining me. This
Hey.
is Jennifer and Phyllis, of course. Jennifer Longburg, author, speaker, psychic. Phyllis Guy, who's going to teach us all kinds of stuff today about nutrition and staying healthy and all that good, juicy stuff. And I love how you say changing lives one bite at a time. Just, it's so fascinating. Anyway, today is Thursday, September 6th. I had to look at the calendar to see when that was. And it's so fun to do these interviews and to do these workshops for people. And we were just talking before we got started on the video, and I love it because I met Phyllis like almost 5 years ago. We just decided it's been a while since we've known each other. So we've been like in each other's network for that long, and it's so amazing. She was at one of the very first conferences that I did, which was, again, eons ago. It's so funny. I
Yeah.
was just looking at like some Facebook memory stuff, and that popped up some of the events that I've done. So amazing people that I've gotten to meet over the years. And I am just going to jump in. So whenever whenever I do these workshops and interviews, I always like to say, it's great to throw out all your certificates and all the things that you do and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is you're a woman helping other women.
Right.
So let's just dig into that. And I'll put all of the, good juicy stuff about what your talk is about and how to find your links and those kind of things so that they can find all of the important information out later. But let's just talk woman to woman and tell me, like, what made you passionate and how did you get into this business of the weight loss and the nutrition coaching and all the good juicy stuff that you do?
Sure. Good question. I've been a personal trainer for many years, since 2002, and realized back then, or over the process of training clients, that it wasn't about calories in, calories out, and exercise wasn't the be all end all for people. And it was so much more than that. So back then it was also more about nutrition. But then recently, or they say the last 3 years, I got certified through the Institute for Psychology of Eating and realized that our food issues are never about food.
Right.
They're about other things going on in our lives, the stress. And, we use food for pleasure. We use food for celebrating. We use food when we're stressed and when we need some emotional comfort. So it's all about how we use food. So just realizing that the quality of food is important, the stress is important, lifestyle is important. And that's what I'm passionate about, just letting people know that it's not about calories in, calories out, and anything you see advertised on TV is not good for you. Period.
Isn't that kind of the truth? Yeah, most definitely. It's funny that you say that because I'm feeling like a little bit like, because I just realized you can see my fridge, and I've got my, I just hired a personal trainer because I got up here to North Dakota, and I feel really guilty now because you were just talking about personal trainer, and I haven't been to the gym this week, and my program is right there in my face where I could look at it. So
exercise is absolutely important, and it plays a big role in our health. But as far as losing weight, it's not the be all end all for losing weight.
I like it because I know I need movement. So I know I need to be doing something. I kind of actually went because I tore a muscle in my arm, and I need to be able to, I've gotten so weak, and I don't like that. It doesn't feel good to be weak at all. But so that being said, like me talking about my weakness and I'm kind of, I did some health and nutrition. I'm really more about the herbal supplements, but what I used to always tell everybody is do the best you can. 80-20 is great. But don't beat yourself up when you mess up. Like, do you kind of agree with that too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's a lot about just getting back to basics. What I like to teach people is to get back to basics in their own kitchens. We've kind of lost the art of cooking and eating real food, and it's too easy to get food nowadays.
Right.
We don't have to hunt our food anymore.
Right.
It's on every corner and every day, all day. It's a perpetual summer kind of thing.
Yeah.
We don't eat cyclically anymore, or seasonally, I should say.
Right. So you'll probably cringe at this. I used to be a soda drinker like every day. Like, we're not talking like a soda once in a while. We're talking every day, but I still sometimes find myself just craving a soda. And it's interesting that you said the psychological part of that, because I hadn't had a regular like Dr. Pepper in like years. And when my daughter was in the hospital, I craved it. You would have thought I was a smoker. Like, I craved it that hard. Like, I needed a pop so bad. And it was so weird that was my default pattern. So I've tried to change my own thinking about what I think about that. And so now I do still allow myself to have a pop now and then. It's not a daily thing. But I also know that I'm bad enough at it that I buy, like salt, the sparkling waters, things like that, because I'm trying to replace that. So
Right.
that being said, what would be like 3 of the main challenges that women you work with might have?
Good question. Sugar addiction is certainly one of them. We use sugar to feel good, just like you fell back into an old pattern because you wanted to feel good. You're in the hospital, a stressful situation. Yeah, we want to feel good, so we fall back into those patterns. Also, just the whole sugar addiction. Sugar is addictive, more addictive than cocaine. And it's hard to get off sugar. And habit changing. We have habits. Our brain likes habits. We like to do things without thinking. That's how we conserve energy. We're basically lazy people. Don't give me entrepreneurs that, but so our brain likes to be efficient. So if we have a habit and we don't have to think about something, we're not going to think about it. We're going to reach for the easiest thing, or the thing that, the habit that's developed over years. So habits are tough to break, and we have to do it in baby steps. Think about the triggers. Information overwhelm is also huge. Like I said, don't see anything you ever see advertised. Don't buy anything you see advertised on TV. We're being bombarded every day, billboards and TV and news and snippets and Facebook and everything, telling us what to do and how to do it. And we're not cool if we don't do this, and we won't be healthy if we don't do that. So just information overwhelm. So I try to cut through all that and get back to basics.
Yeah. That's really well said, because it's funny how much it relates to, and I like to do this every time I talk to somebody. I'm like, God, it's so awesome that we're teaching the same thing in a different way, because the same thing with the thoughts. Like, so when I'm working with a client, it's usually what they're limiting, like their thoughts are about how they feel about themselves. Whereas it's the same thing, but with food or with sugar or with these things. So I think the one thing that I like to always get out there for everybody is to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're still valuable. It's just, you've got to tweak the habits a little bit. That's all.
Right.
So like, if you're having a struggle and you are wanting to get some help with nutrition and losing some weight or whatever, like, reach out to somebody. Like, that's her thing. So this is Phyllis's thing. So like, reach out to somebody, get some support in that. The interesting thing, talking about things on Facebook and all of that, what's the deal with keto? Because I'm seeing that everywhere. And I don't know how to feel about it, because I've had some friends that have had some really fantastic results with it, but I'm looking at it thinking, I don't think there's any way I can do that. So what's your take on keto, and what do you think about it?
I go, like you said, either way. There are good ways to do it, and there are not so good ways to do it. But interestingly, keto was the diet of choice way back when, before we came up with diabetes drugs. So people would have really good results with diabetes and losing weight and being healthy on a keto diet back in the, early 1900s to 1940-ish, maybe, when they came out with the drugs. Don't quote me on that. But that's how we controlled diabetes, and because it's about controlling insulin. When we eat a high carbohydrate meal, it spikes insulin to get rid of the glucose, so it gets shuttled into the muscles and the brain and the liver for energy to be used later. But if we're not using that energy, it gets stored, and that's how, kind of in a nutshell, how insulin resistance happens. Because there's no place for the sugar to go, we keep releasing insulin, and our body becomes desensitized to it.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So I like keto in that it regulates hormones, but that's if, like I said, we get back to real food. If we're doing it Atkins style with the bars and the shakes and more processed foods, and it doesn't matter the quality of the food, we're just talking about you're just counting carbohydrates, then it's not going to work as well, because you're still eating garbage. Right. So if you get back to eating real food, that makes a huge difference. And the way a couple other things. The way I do it, you can't just jump into it, especially if you've been eating a high carbohydrate diet for so long. You're going to feel awful those first few weeks. So I kind of stair-step people into it. The first thing I do is to get sugar out of your diet, processed sugar especially. And then we stair-step you so that you're eating more quality fats, quality proteins, fewer carbohydrates, but even then they're quality carbohydrates. Like say, I don't know, vegetables, lots of vegetables. In my world, green vegetables, leafy greens are free food. You don't have to count those. Where was I going with this? Oh, yes, quality and just stair-stepping. And then also, I don't think ketogenic diets were meant to be long-term. They're more cyclic. If you think back ancestrally to our ancestors, cavemen, it was always feast or famine. You know, if they went out on a hunt, they didn't get anything, well, they were eating berries and nuts and seeds. Whereas if they did get a hunt, then they would just feast on what they what they got.
Right, that's an interesting take. I've never heard anybody talk about that before. I like that.
Yeah. So even in ketogenic, if you up your carbs every once in a while just to get your body readjusted so it's not doing the same thing over and over again, that's also a good thing.
Interesting. I like that. I like that idea. That's really, really cool. All
Yeah.
right. So let's just talk, because I know there's, so many different ideas and myths about nutrition. So like, what are some of the dangerous things that you think about what people might think they know about nutrition?
Good question. I think maybe we've been bombarded with, the front of the package versus the back of the package. We've been mesmerized. So for instance, granola bars. We all think granola bars are healthy. Not so. I have a little thing here for Nick. I don't know if I can show this, but
we'll
this
just go any disclaimers.
This is actually this is a Nature Valley granola bar.
Okay.
And if you count the grams of sugar and or carbohydrates, this is what you get. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like eating 7 packets of sugar.
About how much sugar my husband puts in his coffee.
Right? Okay. This is how much sugar or / carbohydrates are in a granola bar.
Yeah.
And don't fool yourself, because carbohydrates are carbohydrates. They turn to sugar in the body no matter what form they are, whether it's honey or whether it's rice or potato or whatever. It turns to energy, sugar in the body. Right. So yeah, things like thinking a granola bar is healthy, or thinking artificial sweeteners are more healthy for you, say getting a diet soda instead of a regular soda. That just, your brain's looking for calories. When you have an artificial sweetener, your body expects to have calories with that because it's expecting it to be some form of sugar.
Right.
But it's not getting that sugar or those calories, then it's going to crave more.
Okay.
So it sends that signal to the body to crave more calories because it didn't get any. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't get any calories with this. What's going on? So then you start craving more.
So when you're talking about sugar versus artificial sweeteners, like just my own personal experience with soda. So whenever I tried to get off of not drinking so much soda, I went to diet, and it made me seriously ill, like really sick, like almost like wondering if I had MS kind of sickness.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I was having an allergic reaction to the, how do you say it? Is it aspartame, or how do you?
I say aspartame.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what the right way to say that word is. I've never known. Right. But anyways, I think I'm almost positive that was what the allergic reaction was too, because as soon as I stopped drinking soda, then the diet soda, then I felt better. Like it didn't take very long at all to get to feeling better. But I do know that when I was really trying to be healthy, and I have totally fallen off the wagon, which is part of my reasoning for doing some of these is because I need the information for myself. So I'll just be totally honest with that. I need to get myself back on track, and I know the things to do, but when I was really doing a good job of doing the whole things. And the other thing I want to throw out here right now is no mom guilt. So like if there's a mom watching this and you feed your kids those granola bars, don't feel guilty. We've all done it. Like I used to give my kids those same things. You know what I mean? And I'll still buy a Cliff Bar and keep them in there just in case, because sometimes you just are on the run and that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So don't feel guilty. Again, 80-20. I don't know if you agree with that, Phyllis, but I'm going to throw that out there. Just do the best you can when you can, and know that it's okay. And if you didn't know, you didn't know, right? So you didn't know that those had all the sugar in them. So now you know. So now maybe look at things differently, make something homemade. my daughter and I, neither one are morning people at all. And so I was doing better. I was making like homemade muffins, and, you know, you can use the applesauce or stevia or things like that. So curious, you know, sugar versus artificial sweeteners versus like stevia or chicory root or something like that. What's your take on all of the different kind of sweeteners?
It depends on your taste. Like you said, aspartame, I think, is a neurotoxin, so it does affect your brain. So you get headaches and you feel icky and gross. And I was just reading this morning that sucralose, if you put it in something hot, turns also into a neurotoxin.
Wow.
You're affecting your brain that way. I used to put sucralose in my baked goods years ago too, before I knew any better, when it first came out, because they kept telling us, no, that's it's an artificial sweetener.
Okay.
They say it's made from sugar, but the way it's processed it really
is not okay.
Yeah, it's not good. Stevia is good. It takes just a tiny bit and it's more natural, but it has to be from a natural source. It can't be, there are a couple of brands I don't agree with because they add fillers. Truvia is one of those, and there's another one, but they add fillers to it. So when you're looking at the label, again, look at the back of the label, not the front.
Right.
Look for just a pure stevia leaf.
Okay. Yeah, and I like that. I have it's called stevia in the raw, and it comes in like a green bag. And then, but I found that, so I don't mind the taste of stevia, but I know that like there's some. Well, I'll just call out my husband. We'll just. I'll ask for forgiveness afterwards. I'm like, we'll just call him out. It's okay. So he does not like the. He's like, there's a weird aftertaste. I don't like it. So I found another product, and it's called, and I'm curious to know if you've used it or if you know about it. It's called Just Like Sugar, and it's actually made from chicory root. And if I blend the two, to me, it has more of a table sugar type flavor. So I'm just curious if you don't know about it, that's okay. But I just would be curious on your take I
have not heard about it. Yeah.
Well, because another reason that I ask that is especially when you're starting to try to eat healthy, like, it's going to be really hard if you feel like you're depriving yourself. But if you can make a homemade muffin that tastes like it's something, you know, that's a treat, then maybe you won't fall off the wagon as hard or as often.
Right. Yeah.
So I always try to find, okay, well, let's get creative. If we can't have, you know, this, how do we create something else that's like it, that's healthier? So my favorite thing to do is the dark chocolate, and you melt it down. So like the cacao pellet, or what are they called? Like wafers or whatever.
Yeah, cacao nibs or
yes. And you melt those down with a little bit of coconut oil, and then I would sometimes add a little bit of stevia, and then put like almonds in it and make like a bark.
Perfect.
Candy bar.
Yeah.
And it's all healthy. So like those are the kind of things I'm like, okay, if I can't have a Snickers, what can I have?
Right.
So I like to get creative like that. So we'll kind of move on from there, but it's really interesting to know the difference of the sweeteners versus artificial sweeteners versus substitute sweeteners, right? Because there's still a natural leaf plant, and stevia has a lot of health benefits too. I don't know if you're using it that way, if it has the health benefits you would as if you were, you know, the plant, but it's still good to know that God put herbs on this earth for a reason, I think.
Right.
So the other interesting thing, so I immediately just got a flashback to like the 80s and like, you know, the skinny little things and the workout gear and the leg warmers. And there's so many like diet trends through these decades, right? So like, tell us your take on the diet trends.
The diet trends.
I just dated myself, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, it's like the grapefruit diet, the cabbage diet. Something was really big back in the 90s. Oh, the master cleanse. And it's all. It seems like it's fad, but yes, if you take away the bad food, you're going to lose weight. Mm-hmm. So it's really about replacing it with good food and doing something that you can live with. Mm-hmm. So I take my clients through this thing for the first month called the 21-day sugar detox. Mm-hmm. And that's really about getting back to real food, getting you off sugar, getting your brain accustomed to a different way of eating, getting new habits set up, that kind of thing. So it's not a fad. It's something that we can do for a lifetime. And so that's the extreme. It's kind of jumping in with 2 feet when I do the sugar detox. But then once they've done it, they feel successful, we can back off and say, okay, how can we make this something that you can live with?
Right.
And so and I help coach them through that with their new habits and seeing what's deeper. Why are they addicted to sugar? What are they using food for? What is it that they want to feel good about that they're not feeling good about? That food is replacing this good feeling. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I just was kind of curious to see your take on, I think kind of what I was asking, it was like all of the different trends and all of the different fads and,
Right.
and I think all of it, the workouts versus the, the food versus, I mean, it all kind of seems to play in together for me because
Right.
I remember back in like, I want to say it was it the 80s when Suzanne Summers and the leg warmers and the really high waisted things and everybody was drinking Diet Coke. Like, wasn't that the thing back then? I mean,
Yeah.
that might not be the right era. That might not be the right years or whatever. But like, I remember thinking that was, it was, and then you go back into what we were talking about earlier, where it's cool, right? Because it's all the advertising or whatever. But
Right.
It's just interesting to me, the different trends. And I remember the Atkins diet being really big. And I think the reason why is because, do you think everybody wants an easy fix?
Absolutely.
And so they're like, oh, if I do this diet, it'll,
right.
But
then it comes back.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. But then it always comes back. And just like you were talking, I think it's really interesting that, and good that you do the 21-day like cleanse, and then you still offer support past that. Because I always feel like, even for me, like I did really good for the longest time, right? Now I'm kind of not really where I want to be as far as eating as clean as I would like to be. And I know that I can do it, but getting back into it is always the hardest part. Like, I already know what to do, but
Right.
getting back into it is so hard. So is there any like tips for people that you would say, how to make that transition easier? Or is it just do it?
Well, part of it is just do it, but it depends on your personality. I know if I do something like that, it's like, oh, can I have a friend do this with me, or somebody hold me accountable, or get a coach or a friend or someone to do it with you, because that's so much better. Or even a Facebook group. You can start your own Facebook group or something to get that support. I've done group coaching, and people have said the invaluable part is the group part of it. You get support and you're exchanging recipes and saying, oh, I had a shitty day. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me.
I had a really bad day and I need a little boost or something like that. And people are there for you. Mm-hmm. I also had one client, all she wanted was to meet 3 times a week for 15 minutes in the morning so she could get her accountability.
Okay.
So we did that together after the sugar detox.
Really good.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me. So now I'll call myself out with this. It has to be my idea and I have to be ready to do it. So the one thing that I've noticed, like I have a group of girlfriends that when we're just struggling with something, like we give each other permission to just suck at it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm failing miserably and I don't even care. And you're like, you know what? It's okay. And then it's like, okay, if it's okay to be like this and not be, and to be failing, like, then maybe it's okay to go ahead and start trying, because I kind of get this shitty attitude. So here's that word again, right? I kind of get this attitude sometimes where I'm not going to let anybody tell me what to do. And if they don't think I'm good enough, too bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if somebody else tells us what to do and we're not ready, then you're not going to do it. You're going to feel deprived and you're going to feel like it's a diet and you're just going to say, forget it.
So I would say if anybody's watching this and it's like, you're like, God, I just can't do it. Like, it's okay to feel that way, but be in a place where you're ready to, okay, it's okay to be this way, but maybe I really do need to do something. Right. I might be talking to myself here, but that's okay. So that being said, like, who would be a perfect person for you to work with?
Oh, someone who, like you, is they know what to do, but aren't quite sure how to do it. What's that first step? And am I ready? I can kind of ask questions and see if you are ready. I work with a lot of people who are diabetic and they want to either reduce or just get off that diabetes medication. They're tired of it. I give people permission to eat the egg yolks. That's another diet.
That's another fad thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's been lasting so long. It's just way too long. So low fat. I mean, I was on the low fat wagon forever, low fat yogurt. I ate egg whites. I ate whatever. But so what do they do in low fat? They have to add sugar to it to make it palatable.
Right.
So anyway, I digress. Maybe who works with me, people who have tried 2, 3, 4 diets and feel like they're unsuccessful. They need help. They need that support, that accountability, that coaching. They can't seem to do it on their own. People who are struggling with the emotional eating side of things. They're in the kitchen late at night and can't figure out why. And they're sick and tired of it. They're frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. And then like I'm going to put all of the links and everything below, but just how can people reach out to you? Where is the best place?
My website is mynaturalbodywisdom.com. I'm also on Facebook under Natural Body Wisdom. I'm also on Instagram. Twitter, I don't do too much. Instagram, even, I haven't figured that out yet. So
it's okay.
I'm there,
I'm not gonna lie. Like Facebook's my place. Like,
yeah.
I do the other ones just because, like, the media, your social media people tell you you're supposed to, but I'm like, I really don't know how to do those. But Facebook,
right.
So
Yeah.
if Facebook and the website is where you want people to do,
yeah, Facebook and the website
to make sure that it's really easy. So we'll make sure they have the links for you. That being said, usually when somebody comes on with me, we kind of give like a little special offer. So do you have anything like that you want to offer to people who see that?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to offer people just a starter conversation, just to book 30 minutes on Zoom or a phone call with me, just to see if I can give you some tips and tricks on how to make things a little easier for you and stay out of the kitchen late at night. So you're not standing in front of your closet every morning thinking, oh my goodness, what size am I going to wear today?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. That's for sure. So, so let's just do, what would be one overall tip that you could give to anybody who's ready to start getting serious about their nutrition?
Ask for help, ask for support. Yeah, because a lot of people, especially in a family situation or a significant other situation, they feel like they're being sabotaged. But you need to take care of you. It's your life. Nobody's going to do it for you. Know that you are good enough. And just like you said, you deserve to be healthy and happy and accept who you are and move forward from there.
I love that. That feels like a really good place to end this. So I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming on and doing this interview with me. I'll have it up on YouTube and Facebook and all of those places. And I'll make sure to have all of your information so that anybody who sees the replay can get in touch with you. And thank you for doing what you do. Because
you're welcome.
I love you. I love how you're so sweet and you're so soft. And I'm like, I work with you because I'm not like, I would probably need that in this because I know that I need to do it, but I'm just not getting there. So if anybody out there in, whoever sees this video or whatever in YouTube land or Facebook land, there's help, find it. Like, I love doing these interviews with everybody because it's women helping women, which I absolutely am passionate about. Know that you're okay just where you are. But if you're ready to make it better, find somebody to help you. Like, that's the power of coaching and community, right? So find that group and find that thing that works for you and reach out to Phyllis and get your free call because that's going to be a great place to start. So anyway, thank you so much for being with me today. And I just really appreciate you talking with us and giving us some information and your insight and your ideas on, on all of this stuff that's nutrition to me is so fun because I do like to cook. And so it's good to see that somebody wants to also teach that because I feel like that kind of came through a little bit that you're like, let's figure out how to cook and be enjoy the food and enjoy the food. Like that's the thing too.
Exactly.
So, all right.
No guilt.
No guilt. Thank you so much for today.
All right. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.